Fellow producers and engineers, this is MIB, email in the building. Welcome to the Efficiency is Key series, where we will discuss and demonstrate key tips that will increase your workflow of any DAW of your choice. Right now, we're going to dive into the Maschine MK3 by Native Instruments, which as of now happens to be my number one choice when it comes to beat making. I still use Reason Propeller Head for making beats and using Pro Tools specifically for mixing audio. It's just perform better in my opinion. Okay, let's get to it. The topic of this vid is templates. For any of you who is new to music production, this is by far the most important step to fast productivity. I mean, we talking about faster mixing, faster mastering, beat making, and recording. All that occurs when you don't have to spend time setting up a session. Why? Because everything that you will more than likely use when you create needs to be accessible. So this method can be used on any DAW, but this is the Maschine. As you can see, I have a setup consisting of 3 blank groups, which I use to add my leads, pads, loops, or any melodies. 1 drum group with a customized drum kit created in the order of how I organize my sounds. Like, for example, the MK3 has 16 pads. Pad 1 starts from the bottom left-hand corner, pad 16 from the top right-hand corner. So how I like to do it, I set my kicks from pads 1 through 4, pads 5 through 8, I have snares, claps, then I'll have pads 9 through 14, which would be my percussion sounds like open hats, claps, my apologies, I already said claps already, open hats, crashes, hi-hats, bells, and whatever percussions I like to use. And then of course pads 15 through 16, I'll have chants because I like to keep chants in my music. Then after that, I have a 1 808 group, which consists of 16 different 808s, which I like to interchange depending on the mood of the song. And what I do is I'll select one, then I'll play them in keyboard mode, so therefore I don't have to just take 1 808 and then stretch it across 16 notes in case I want to just change out my 808s, so that just makes it more efficient for myself. And then of course I have an effects groups, which pretty much just like ear candy. So if you think of like the Lex Luger transition sound and those swishes that shows up in the middle of tracks, so I have like a couple sounds and I made all that within a group. And then last, of course, I have my tags. I have my center tag, which is what I'm affiliated with, and then of course I have my own tag. So after I've consolidated my sounds and groups according to how I like to work, I go to my preferences. And within my preferences, I start from the general tab. So I personally at times do not have the metronome immediately when I start, but it's very helpful to make sure that on time with the beat. And when we talk about timing, we look at the signature. I always have it set for a quarter note and my count in being 1 bar. Now, this is definitely crucial when it comes to dealing with tempos that's higher than I would like to say, roughly like 140, because it's going to be so fast. So you do have the opportunity, to do the count in a little longer. Like 2 bars is pretty decent to where you get enough time, to gather your thoughts, so you can be able to approach it without having to, consistently have to re-record just because you weren't on time. Then after that, I'll go to my audio settings. And of course, I have the ASIO driver. It's pointing towards my audio interface. And then I have my sample rate, which is at 44,100, which is equivalent to 44.1K. Now, this is what I learned in school. When you're dealing with buffer size, usually if you ever wondered why when you record music or record audio that you happen to have a delay coming in from your headphones, and it kind of throws you off a little bit, and mainly because it's buffer size. So what we was taught was that when you record vocals or you record in sound, through microphones, you want to have a low buffer sound. Now, the only time you want a high buffer sound is when you're mixing audio, which would be like your 1024 buffer size. So we're not going to change it right now because it's going to end up cutting off the audio because that's just what happens and stuff. But just keep that as a point of reference. Record low, mix high. All right. And then so we're going to skip past the MIDI, so I don't necessarily need anything MIDI related. Everything's already died in here, but you know, I do have an MK3, my apologies. I have a MPK Mini that I would use as just an extension keyboard on top of the MK3. And if I want to use that, then of course it'll find it in here as well. But I don't do any adjustments to any clock or anything like that. Of course, my default settings, like if I want to relocate this template that we're creating right now as we speak. So it's either I keep it in the destination that the machine has set for it, or I can go ahead and place it in one of my folders where I have majority of my music at, and it's just, you know, for quick reference for me. And plus, you know, you want to make sure you practicing good backup techniques as well. You know, whatever you can fit on one storage, you need to have another storage as well, because you know, the one thing you do not want is to have your stuff crash and you can't recover it because you don't have no backup. The next thing I also would like to talk about is duplicating scenes and patterns. And the reason why this is very clutch when it comes time to arranging your music is that, you know, because we kind of want to produce our song at, you know, its most activity. And so like whatever all the sounds that you're going to use, you want to create all that at once. And then once you're done with it, then you will just duplicate the scenes, you know, just to cover your verses and your hooks and your intros and your outros. And then it'll in return make different types of patterns and make patterns to go with those scenes. And then you'll just do the cut and paste method. All right. So after we, you know, done with the default tab, we'll go to the library where you get to see where the location of all the sounds, the ones that Native Instruments gave you, as well as the ones that you have as well, which is what your user section is about. Plugins, of course, all the plugins. Once NI opens up and it scans your whole entire computer, it's going to look for the locations, which is more likely when you install your plugins, they put in the default program section, which would be your VST plugins or your Steinberg VST plugins. It's going to scan, it's going to find all of that. Not much really going on in the hardware section. Then of course you got your colors, which if you want to have organization, which is also key to efficiency as well. You have different colors to represent different scenes, so you can identify verses, hooks, intros, outros. Then of course your groups, which are covered at the beginning, your leads, your drums, your 808s, your perks, your effects. And then I normally keep, you know, the same color for the actual sounds. And that's just how the machine recognizes it. So what I gathered with, you know, just kind of learning a little bit, the scene is kind of like your arranger, your group is like your instrument, and then your sound is like the sounds individually in it. And then that's pretty much it in that regard. And then what you'll do a file, save as, and then okay, it'll already open up a default root directory for you, but you can also point in the direction of wherever you want to go, and then just name it such and such template. Save it, be done with it. As you want to replace it, of course, that's what it asks me. Then pretty much that's really it. And then that's how you actually save your template. And then what you'll do, you'll go back to preferences where it says default. And then you want to have that standalone template open up every time. So every time you open up the machine, your template shows up. You immediately get straight to work. So this concludes the machine template tutorial. I'd like to thank you all for tuning in. I know this will help you in your career in music. Please subscribe to the channel because I have a lot that I would like to introduce to you to further assist you. Please feel free to comment on what videos you would like me to make that I can possibly teach you that you may not know about. Like I said, I am an avid learner. I dive into a lot of stuff right here, and I go in between 3 different DAWs. So trust me, I know some stuff. And also, you know, if this video serves any actual value, you know, towards your music, like the vid. It's not gonna hurt nothing but a click. And of course, you know, stand by for the next vid that we're going to be pushing out, where we're going to be creating our own drum kits. Yep,